From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth and Merrow, I am Anthony Mormino, coming to you live from the backstretch at Clare Court.
Very active today.
Very active, as are the mosquitoes. But
I haven't been here long enough to discover that yet.
We know that. Also, opening day at Del Mar, which is a event for me. But just yours truly, we're doing a play of the day, and I went the Ghostbusters route. Dr. Venkman, a first-time starter of the second race.
I saw you made that pick, and I was gonna send you a text and said you got to get that reference.
Oh yeah, that's that one. Movies, I'm probably most best pop culture.
Okay.
Because I have always enjoyed going to the movies, and I guess in this day and age, that's becoming a dying thing. Yeah. But I have always, as a and I'm talking about being a little like. I go from Little League games to the movie. I mean, I loved them since I was, 8, 9 years old, going to the movies.
Well, of course, I'm a film school graduate, so I obviously love the movies.
Yes.
But it sounds like we all have to go see Oppenheimer, which
I'll be there.
Was not necessarily intriguing me, but
the really?
Rate is like,
I
just heard the story, and I've seen documentaries and things,
right?
But the reviews.
But what's interesting is, I think this looks like it's going to be yards better than the old Paul Newman. What was it? Fat Boy, Little Man, which seems to be running over the same tracks.
Yeah.
But this one seems to be elevated from that script. So I'm thinking Sunday night. I know it's 3 hours, and
that's not a bad idea.
I don't want to. I'm less inclined to see the 9 o'clock-ish one going that deep, because Monday and Tuesday I like to be quite it. But it's and this thing that apparently this doubleheader going to see the Barbie movie
with the Barbieheimer.
And what could be any more different? And I have no interest in seeing that one.
It's also on the flip side of the reviews. So
is it? I thought I saw one in the Post that I read almost daily. They got killed, but yes, Oppenheimer. So but movies, I'm good. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in my mid-20s and I would go out to happy hour, I've generally had Fridays off in my adult life. I would go see 2 premiere matinees and make happy hour. So I saw like The Godfather Part 3. I would see everything. I'd see the 12 o'clock one. Then I'd see like the 3:30 one, make happy hour. And I'd be like, I could have been a movie reviewer for about 3 years by seeing him right away. But so that's on the docket.
Well, not that we're totally off the subject here, but I'm curious because, again, I'm a big movie guy myself. Yes. But I have to admit, I haven't been to the theater more than maybe 2 times since the pandemic.
Well, since the pandemic, I think you're right. But also, this is when I recognize getting older. And I've told Denise this, and now this wouldn't have been probably what you studied in films, but I studied business. It's like I told my wife, we are no longer in the marketing demographics. And I find that movies, by and large, aren't made.
Universe is not pulling me in.
The movies, by and large, made for a 60-year-old, and I understand that. I very infrequently. That's why I'm so amped by the Oppenheimer movie. That is in my wheelhouse, and it's too few. Onto something yesterday also, and I know I talked about Tyler Gaffalione yesterday, and I know 63 caliber was the favorite, and I'm going to do it once again with highly flammable for Javier Castellano in the third race. It was another favorite, 5.5 furlongs. He found himself in the last going into the turn in a turf sprint, and I'm just projecting these thoughts. It was clear that Tyler Gaffalione worked his butt off to get the win 2 days ago, but boy, it seemed like Javier gave us all the best of his skills, because it seemed as if while you're watching him riding, he's thinking inside, which can be advantageous, or outside. And I think he took like 5 strides to the side, and then he decided, I can't get stopped. I have the best horse. I got to give him the best chance. He took the overland route, and he just exploded to win. But you could almost, and I'm projecting here, that Javier was back there. He was clearly last. It was only like a 5 or 6 horse field, and he's deciding, and when you're sitting on the favorite, I think, you get lambasted if you go down inside. He took the overland route, and the horse won, really took command of the race. And I was like, wow, that's, just so watch races. It's a lot of fun.
And again, we came into this week at about 41% winning favorites.
Oh,
and
yes.
And then Wednesday knocked that down a little bit. Yesterday brought it back up. We're at 41%.
You think 60% helps?
6
out of 10 yesterday.
And then I parsed it out for the stats I do for the Times Union, because I thought it was a little bit interesting.
Okay.
That came to, I think, 41 horses that were under, because I parsed out the under $10, between 10 and 20, and over $20 so far. And there's, I think, 41 or 42 under $10 out of 61 races so far. But there were 6 that were over 20, and those were between 30 and the 94.
Well, I think we had 5 under $5 yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't parse it out to the favorite because I said 41%. Favorite.
If you ever need parsing, just send me an email, because as Brian Addo said, it's in here. All I got to do is sort, and it comes up rather quickly. Couple quick thing here on the pick 5 yesterday, Seth, and I think these numbers are correct. Now, to make it even, and there'd be people going crazy probably at me, I'm old, so I did it in $2 increments, so the mutual, the pick 5, because I had this idea that there's a function of what the mutuals parlay is, the actual pick 5, and what the morning line, because David is so good, without any serious scratches. And I thought there was a 7-2 shot on the morning line that scratched yesterday. I didn't think that really impacted the race. So let me give you the early pick 5. The $2 parlay crushed the pick 5, which is not the way it's supposed to go. 646 versus 436. The $2 morning line pick 5, 1568. And the conclusions I'm trying to get here is they crushed it. They crushed the horses on the morning line that were the right horses. And in the late pick 5, where this time the pick 5 won 24.97 versus the parlay just under 2,200. But the morning line was over 4,000.
Uh-huh.
And that was including a $30 and $20 winner late in the card, which were the price horses on the day. So it's just some data I'm starting, and I think I made the computations for the parlay and everything correctly. And I did it twice, Seth, because I couldn't believe, especially the early one, that the $2 parlay would be about $650 and that the morning line one would be like $15.50. There'd be that much disparity. And then I
did wind up with a couple of horses that were singles, I'm sure, for people. Antonio Venice, certainly pretty extreme, I think. Took
pretty extreme. And listen, the horse I talked about, Highly Flammable, was 3-2. So, I mean, you really got them. I was doing just some compare and contrast, and this is where numbers are so important. Just going to rattle this off. The difference between the morning line and the mutual: $11.80 to $14, $3.90 to $5.60, $5.20 to $8, $4.80 to $4. That was the only one that was lower, which was pretty extreme, I think, who was even money part of the entry on the morning line, and then 9 to 10. My point is, they were rather close, the mutual morning line, if you just say those numbers generically, but radically different, almost 150% improvement on the morning line versus the $2 parlay, which is why I did it multiple times, thinking the mutuals and the morning line are too close. But I checked the math, and I was like, that's the power of not compound interest, but, parlay action. So that intrigued me, that whomever they are that bet off a great morning line from David, they know.
Yeah.
They and I'll tell you, Whisper Not, who was the $30 winner, was a $26 horse on the morning line. So David got that right. They bring food or anything, or just themselves?
They may have horse treats.
It's the largest single gang I've ever seen. They could take over the set. If this is an invasion, we're in trouble, Seth.
And mark your calendar. We're gonna get you up to talk about the horse treats at some point. Very good, very good.
I know this doesn't make for the best television, but it makes for the best fun. So, over the course of the year, you got to take 30 seconds. You want to tell them?
Well, it's Kim Weir and
I know
the whole,
who it is. Those people. Don't tell them who they are. Well, they know who they are. Tell those people.
What is the name of the company?
You got the bag? Throw it up here. Don't wipe out my. Okay, even nicer. Some of the nicest people in the game. They deserve a free chuck. I like the packaging.
And now with the horse treats.
We like Swedish fish. So the next time you bring the horse thing, you bring some Swedish fish. So this is horse biscuits benefiting Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. Doesn't get any better than that. The Lazy Dog Cookie Company. Well, where's the cookies? Are there cookies for humans or are they just cookies for the horses?
Cookies for the dogs.
Oh, dogs. No, horse biscuits.
No, but it's a dog food cookie company.
Thank
then
you.
Now they've
You
gone
are
up.
Dialed in.
Now they've gone. I play basketball with them.
Oh, another one of those. And this is cherry vanilla peppermint, which I would say those are three of my favorite words, but not in a horse treat. So if you have something, but beautiful packaging, by the way. I'm a marketing and business guy. Great. And obviously anything benefiting the Thoroughbred Retirement Fund is great work. Thank you so much.
But the beauty of being on the back.
Does he have game?
Oh, he's one of the better players.
Okay, so he gets picked early?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I am at this point on the other end of the spectrum. All right, take it easy. Again,
thanks, Kim.
The beauty of being here on the backstretch,
live television,
popping by in the golf cart, we see a lot.
We appreciate that.
And there goes the Jim Bond 3-seater.
Oh yes, the Rolls Royce edition of golf carts.
I'll just touch on a couple other things. You mentioned Del Mar opens today.
Yes, it does.
I also want to mention entries open for the weekly show pool. I think about noontime we'll open those today at the website. And again, I have $100. Yes, every Sunday throughout the meet, I'm going to have $100 to do a show parlay. The entries will open today and within the next 24
5 races.
Hours or so, I think.
You got to go through 5 get races. You to the end.
Yeah.
So, you get to choose any 5, or is it okay?
Yeah.
Not that it makes it much easier, because listen, I had to do my play of the day at Del Mar, which is a great card today, and I could have gone in almost any one of 6 directions. As you said, that's almost where you feel like you get hamstrung. Now it's like I got to pick the right one. So we took the Ghostbusters.
I should also note Clubhouse Racebook today. It's a $100 trifecta challenge, and don't forget.
I don't get invited. What is that one? Because you said trifecta. That's like Pavlovian dogs to me. What do you get to do? I've never heard the trifecta one.
I've played them all, and I'm trying to think of the trifecta challenge. That one I don't think I've played in a while. I'd
be interested in that, because that's for those who don't follow. That's my favorite bet. That's my bet.
Going to be Fridays, and so down to Clubhouse Racebook and the Bounty Bet back into action again today as well. Play the late pick 5 here at Saratoga, but play with your Capital OTB bet account. You're just in against that universe playing via Capital OTB bet.
I just for those who, I'm new to their thing. I mean, part wheel trifectas is probably 90% of my, 90 is probably right. Really win. And part wheel exactas and part wheel tries and some exactas. That's really, and the win thing is really it's just more like insurance against my part wheel trifecta, because I'm not an all button guy. So the win bet, and I've said this many times before, you like horses at like 4 or 6 to 1 or more that I may be attracted to. You can't let a $14 horse go under the line and your part wheel try is buckus. You got to get money, because if you're right about the most important part, which is, the winner, if it's $4.80, I don't go like this. But if it's $16, I'm like, well, I want to get at least, $80 to $100 out of the pool. My part wheel trifecta might be 60. So my base opinion, I get rewarded.
It's the old Tom Amello 2x4 horse. If you like a horse and it's a price of like 8-1 or something.
Oh.
You're playing in exotics, and the horse wins, but you don't get the exotic. You want to clunk yourself with a 2x4. So there's a certain price where I think you have to take a little win action as
and
well,
usually,
just for sanity.
And usually about $10 or $12 is that mark. And I've said this before, as a public handicapper, I rarely look up and see, I liked Highly Flammable, but if I didn't and it won at 520, I'm not going to go boo-hoo. But if you liked Whisper Not and somehow you got talked out of it, well, you just want to go play in the double yellow line. You can never let those horses go.
I will also tout, because every day as I'm going through the day, I look and see what the NYRA folks are doing with the picks they post on their website. Acacia Courtney yesterday, I think had 5 winners on top, but it included Whisper Not at $30. So nice day for Acacia.
Yes. It would not be uncommon that many of us public handicappers had a good, I'm going to start calling it hyphen day. 4 for 10, 5 for 10. I think you're going to see a lot of those. But for Acacia to nail the $30 winner
horse
is,
mitigates the hyphen.
Yeah. Her 1 for 10 might have been, in my opinion, better than some people's 4 for 10 or 5 for 10.
In both categories. Yeah,
she nailed it yesterday.
It was a good day for her. Yeah.
Anything else? Anything socially?
No, it was an early day for me yesterday. In fact, I was over.
Well, you got to have 1 or 2 during the meet.
Get some work done.
You're not as young as you used to be.
Low rollers yesterday because I sat in here and tried to catch up. I tend to stick around here after we get done, and because it's nice and quiet back here. I will tout though. Coming up at 10 o'clock, we will be joined by Brian Bouye from the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. We'll get a little update on what's coming up over there throughout the summer. Matt Shearer, trainer, you may have seen the name in the program,
Yes.
does a lot of work with our friend Marshall Graham, had a horse in for Marshall yesterday, but also has a horse in for Marshall tomorrow in the Coaching Club American Oaks. And Belmont Stakes winning trainer Jenna Antonucci will also join us. So it should be fun, 10 o'clock racing across America.
You could tell Mr. Shearer that I would pick up the tab at dinner at a very expensive place with Marshall if all he does is talk about odds computation.
So I was talking to Marshall in the paddock yesterday.
Did you? Well, then you tell him directly.
Okay.
Mr. Mormino will, whatever you like. He can bring a guest. He can bring 1 guest, but we go to whatever he wants. And but his only job is to talk odds. That's it. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
We gotta have to play the day.
Okay.
And it's Friday, so I think I'm on board with this. It will be Kevin Cox on Friday with the DePaula play of the day.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week's Chevy Silverado is just $549 a month with 0 due at inception. Yes, 0 down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with your DePaula play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We'll be giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we'll be basing our success on a $50 to win, $30 to place, and $20 to show wager. And last year, we showed a flat bet profit for the entire stand. Today's play of the day will be in race 5, and we'll go with the number 3, Right for Mischief. This gelding from the Jimmy Bond barn overcame some trouble and the 12 hole to finish a well-clear 3rd when entered for a tag for the first time down in Belmont 6 weeks ago. 4-year-old goes from an apprentice to a capable journeyman, Luis Ayes, for today's 3rd start off the layoff. And the only other time he was in this type of a layoff scenario, an adjusted 76.1 buyer speed figure was the end result that day. We feel he should be no worse than 3rd in this spot. And given the type wager we're making, we feel that makes him an excellent DePaula play of the day in race number 5 at Saratoga Race Course, the number 3, Right for Mischief. And we'll see you at the track.
When you think trucks, think DePaula.
The all-new 2024 Chevy Trax is here. Bigger, roomier, seats 5, and lots of technology. And just $419 a month, 0 down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report.
Let me just jump in because I didn't introduce it.
Time out.
It was Keith Augustine and his wife Amy, again, it's the Lazy Dog Cookie Company, which I think they were based in Boston Spa for a while. I think they're over in Saratoga now, but again, now they branched out into those horse treats. But again, Keith is one of the first guys picked, and I'm one of the.
Did he have? Obviously, he had high school resume.
I would guess,
and maybe he's got game. He's got a lot of game.
Yeah.
Quick note: Andy Sterling texted out about an hour ago that we are off the turf for all races as of now, except the Lake George, which is the 9th, and the features. So, there you have it. One of the things, I mean, it just happens. It's early in the year, and I knew it had rained pretty good where I live, but that doesn't mean it rained pretty good here. But we are off the turf, except for the 9th as of now. So duly note that, and it comes into play in the opener. 2-year-old maiden special weights. We have the 9 and the 10 for MTOs. It'll be interesting to see who stays in, who stays out. I guess this situation, Seth, going 5.5, where all 10 could run, right? I don't think the Foxhole or Sam's Treasure need anybody to come out, right? 10 can run when it's 5.5 on the dirt, right? So
yeah, I think
they don't need any exclusions. So we are off the turf as of now. Everything except the Lake George in the opener, 5.5 on the dirt now, which probably will have some moisture in it.
And I did modestly change my picks. And again, they run the scroll during the day that shows the dirt picks, or you can go. Well, I'll give the dirt picks, but you will note as you look either on the one sheet or the scroll. Not just today, but other days. Some days I just stick with the turf picks, particularly if there's no MTOs.
This is intriguing because there's 2 MTOs that David had made 2.5 to 1 and 2 to 1. But I think at least 2 of my 3 picks, I'm like, I expect them to stay, and I expect them they could run well.
And I put the 9, the MTO Foxhole from Todd Pletcher on top. There's a sibling Elaborate that won the first 2 of his career, including a stakes race, and it's Todd Pletcher with a 2-year-old firster. So I did use that one. I did switch up dirt picks. I put 9 on top, but then I stuck right underneath. I had Shards on top originally on turf, but I'll stick with that one. Debuted on the dirt down at Gulfstream and ran decently, but by Buchero. Buchero is one of those sires. Tuck that one in your back pocket. Sneaky good with win early types. 58 first-time starters, 8 winners, 11 seconds, 6 thirds, so 19 out of 58 in the exacta. There was a sibling that won in the second career start, but on dirt. So Shards, the number 2, still intriguing to me, and then Billy the Greek for Safi Joseph, first-time starter by Golden Sense. There was a sibling called Beach Waltz, second, first in the first 4 starts. The last 3 of those, I will say, were on turf. So we'll see if this one stays in or not. But for me, it's 9, 2, 1, and 4.
I know that it's the first time this year, and probably the first time in maybe 5+ years. I'm just going to go through some of the Tomlinson wet track numbers for some of these horses. And I think we've talked about this before. Like, it's an odd number, like 478 is the top number for this, but 434, 435. 398, 417, 422, and 428. To me, I think most people find those very high wet track numbers. So I think all 10 are live in here. We'll see what type of scratches we get. Foxhole, to me, the 2 Breezing Gate workout bullets is scary. Back-to-back ones. And as I said earlier, and I think I heard Acacia saying this the other day, where it's not so much the most recent one, it's the second to last one that I grab onto. And so Foxhole scares me. I'm 174, though. I'm happy to same old fears, who's an Uncle Mo. Seth mentioned my top pick, Billy the Greek from the inside, a Golden Sense. And then every 4 years, Spicetown on the bottom, got beat at odds on in the debut. But I would easily expect a 10-horse field in here, and a very exciting opening race. We'll have the scratches in a little while, but this is one of those races years ago they talked about that they thought the 5.5 furlong races would kind of stay very competitive as a function of the turf race, and I think they're going to get that here today, plus some.
And I said sibling elaborated. The elaborate was the dam. The sibling, I'm not sure of the name, but it did win the first two, including a stakes
As I was
race.
on Twitter, I saw something very intriguing that happens very rare. And that is David Aragona, and I think correctly so.
Went through the odds?
No. Oh. He put up particularly the Shuvi, 2 odds-on favorite runners. Nest at 4-5, Clairiere at 3-5. I'm not sure about this at all, but I think the last time in graded action, grade 1 action at least, we had 2 horses odds on. The Mother Goose, 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, 32 years ago. I think both Light and Meadow Star were even money. The last time I think I remember that was Aludar and Affirm. Mathematically, it's very hard to happen. You're shaking your head.
I'm trying to answer talking in my ear, which we've already covered here.
Okay.
The second race at Saratoga this afternoon, optional claimer with the seat condition, 3/4 of a mile.
And what I've noticed about this seat condition, Seth, I think this is kind of new going for a year, is they're throwing in, if you haven't won a race this year, that's, opening up the field. 5-3-1 for me. Seth is in the same ballpark. The difference was, this is a good example of really the small difference between you and me that comes out. I only like Top Girl most because she's going to be the longest price of the 3, and I think the 3 of them are close together, and that for me that just makes sense in the long run. Johnny V gets them out. Comes into this condition for the first time after winning the 2X. Then you have Rosebud for Bill Mott, who's having a terrific meet already. Razor sharp, very consistent. And then from the rail, Eddie Keneally comes off 2 impressive victories, but 5-3-1 for me.
Yeah, the one the other day where I said I wanted that one back.
Yes.
The Wednesday one. Those 2 to me were close to the point where I almost put your horse on top. And that
Golden Dagger, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one I regretted. This one I think. My top 2, I think, have an edge on yours.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's not the right thought process because Top Gun Girl comes off a nice try with a lifetime best buyer, and she just maybe
trust me. If mine was
now.
clearly the right one, I'd be driving a Ferrari.
I often say that to people, like the show pool thing. Where it's got to be easy to go 5 straight with the show pool, and I'd be living in Tahiti if it was. We'd all be living in Tahiti if it was that easy. So for me, Rosebud has a little bit of an edge. I think Rosebud and Braganza are pretty close. But again, I put a little bit of an edge to Rosebud on the recent numbers. Braganza has tossed in a couple of pretty good efforts, obviously, down in Kentucky recently for Eddie Keneally, a couple of nice wins with pretty solid numbers. And again, off the number last time for Top Gun Girl, that might well signify that she is just kind of now an improved 4-year-old and comes in with a couple of nice bullet workouts down at Keeneland as well, which may be touting her. So I don't know. What's on the page to me gives my top 2 a little bit of an edge. But again, off the last in those workouts, Top Gun Girl certainly is very playable in here. 3, 1, 5, and 6.
As I've been thinking about the pick 5 more in my life and everything, I think in races like that, you can't take the 3 and move on. I think you have to make it an opinion, almost a single, and you lose and you wait another day. I just think, I don't know. What's it? Survive in advance? I think you better have a really big bankroll to that. I'd rather have a few opinions and go forward, but that's a tough race to get through in a short field.
If I was doing it, I'd probably do my top 2, but I'd be worried. I'd be absolutely worried about yours getting me.
On to the third. This is a capital B, and there are some 3-year-olds in here. Claimer for $25,000. If you're older than 3, you're 3 races in a lifetime, or 3-year-olds going out of the popular 1 mile dirt.
7, 3, 5, and 6. I put Classic Mark on top. 4, owner trainer Linda Rice. Claimed the horse 2 back. And then first off the claim, they win a nice little starter allowance. So they put money in the bank, and now they can come right back down into the claiming ranks and take the shot again. And Linda Rice certainly is continuing to go very, very well. So I'll tilt in that direction.
It's almost
Portos,
40%.
That's crazy. Portos in the second spot off the claim. And I'm surprised the number of horses already that are kind of coming back up here at Saratoga. And this one ran on opening day. We'll see if we get this one back in. But on that try last time with a solid number and matching up against this field, Portos in the mix, and then Order of Magnitude. Up from Gulfstream, Luis Saez jumps on board. Nice win, 2-back for a claiming tag. Then was in an optional claimer starter allowance last time. Still ran a pretty good third. But I think it's probably a pretty cozy fit with this bunch here this afternoon. And I think Order of Magnitude very dangerous in here. 7, 3, 5, and 6.
For me, the same thing as the second race. I thought the three that we agree upon are the three in here. Order of Magnitude is the longest price, not by much, a half a tick. But I also thought there would be greater separation when the wagering goes on. And for me, the higher price is what I want to see with Order of Magnitude, with Luis Saez coming off of the synthetic race, going 9. You have Portis shortening up after the 9-furlong race on opening day, cuts back to the mile. So very interesting in here. 5, 7, 3 for me. And Linda Rice is starting to make the 25% look like the low water level for her as she approaches 40. It's time for the dark horse play of the day, Mr. Seth.
I was just going to give after yesterday trainer stats. Linda Rice is one ahead of Chad Brown, 6-5 at this point. Dark horse play today brought to you by our friends down at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga. Again, I highly tout Swinging by the Dark Horse and Impressions of Saratoga. You'll have fun. When I had Marianne and Maddie in the other day, they gifted me a tie from their stores, and I got some.
They didn't realize this was a 2-person shot?
I got some. Well, they were in with me only.
Okay. I get it.
I got some nice compliments on the tie yesterday.
It was a great tie.
It was a good looking tie. I cannot deny. Dark horse play of the day today in race 8. And man, I am snake bit because I had Neon Beach yesterday, who got rocked in the stretch. The stewards looked at it. I didn't really disagree with the stewards. That was one I think you could have gone either way, and I wouldn't have had a big argument. But the horse did have some trouble in the stretch, so I'm just kind of snake bit. We'll see what we can do this afternoon, though. 8th race. I'm going to go with number 6, Bright Future. We're getting and is that what I went with? Yeah, there we go. We're getting 9-2. That's why I was questioning it. And now I'm kind of thinking back to a couple nights ago. I was looking around. Not on the dark horse, I'll typically go 5-1 or more. We're just a little tick below that. But again, I looked over the card, and again with the anticipated weather, I wanted to stay to a dirt race. So 9-2. I mean, if we get that, I think that's fair. We'll be over $10. I'm going to overlook the Brooklyn clunker last time, 1.5 mile, grade 2 event. I think getting back into this optional claiming level, I think the 1 1/8 miles may be right in the wheelhouse for this horse. The early portion of the career was at the mile, but I think the horse is going to fit nicely again. With this group, I think the distance more suitable than last time at the 1.5 miles. And again, hopefully the price holds up a little bit for us and we get a little bit of value. But dark horse play of the day on this Friday afternoon, race number 8, horse number 6, Bright Future.
And not that you knew this going in, but carrying extra weight as we get to race 8 later on in the program. Take a quick break. When we come back, the middle, pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922, 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth, Merrow, and Anthony Mormino taking a look at this Friday afternoon card and what's kind of become a fun race, I think, annually up here. The Curlin, it's restricted to 3-year-olds that have not won a stakes race this year. And as usual, gets kind of a funky field, including Blazing Sevens, who just missed last time in the Preakness, Scotland, an up-and-comer. Tomorrow, of course, we have the Haskell, but I would think this has the potential to play later into the Travers up here at Saratoga. Race number 4, $135,000 up for grabs for the 3-year-olds in the Curland at 9 furlongs.
This year known as the Good Magic Invitational, 60% of the field. I needed Blazing Sevens in the Preakness. I had him in the Champagne, and I had
Mike Welch yesterday said the same thing.
I had National Treasure in his debut at Del Mar last year, the Flightline Pacific Classic Day, but I didn't need National Treasure being that good. Intriguing race, as Seth pointed out. You know, you get some protection against the bigger horses, typically in the Jim Dandy, and still get the prep over the track. 2-3-1. I just really, as I looked over this, Seth, this is the same boat I found myself in. I think 4 of these horses are absolutely live in here.
Yeah.
Shug's Perform might be a little bit the outside, but Lost Ark is probably going to be $10 in here, and I am looking for an upside, obviously. Second start of the year, came back at Monmouth for Todd Pletcher, won nicely at 1-2. The waters are getting much deeper. Blazing Sevens, winner of the Champagne at $19 for yours truly. Big effort in the Preakness, makes the first start since then, and then Shug's Perform from the inside. But very interesting race from today and for going forward, because clearly with me, with Lost Ark, I mean I need upwardness. Blazing Sevens probably needs to run, and Scotland needs to run probably where they've been.
Yeah. Blazing Sevens is, off the Preakness Perform,
which is probably a mistake on my part.
Yeah, the one to beat. But I went with Scotland. I went 4-3-2. Scotland, may just be an up and comer. And this year on the 3-year-old scene, that may be what we're kind of rooting for and looking to get throughout the summer, because so far nobody's kind of established themselves. And while you were talking, I did pull up the morning line favorite at Monmouth tomorrow, and the Haskell is going to be Bob Baffert's Arabian Night at 5-2. Second choice at 3-1. Mage, nice little field of 8.
As your Arabian Night win, just show it more crazy.
No, and that would not be shocking. So again, Scotland could step into that mix with a win this afternoon, and with 2 wins bookending a close-up second place finish in the 3 starts so far, does make the stakes debut, but this is the place you want to do it, restricted stake like this. Now, runs into a buzzsaw on Blazing Sevens off of that near miss in the Preakness, and that'll be the horse to beat. And then I put Lost Ark down in the 3rd spot. I like Perform in the Preakness, so with me off today, this one off of the Tessio, I thought the horse was a little bit interesting. But as I say, with me off, maybe Perform does better this afternoon. But I have it 4-3-2.
On to the 5th, off the turf, State Breds, Maiden Claimers in for 40. And I'm not so sure, Seth, the 5 MTOs help you out that much.
I stuck with my top pick, and then I went to the MTOs.
Okay.
I'm 11, 15, 14, and 12. I had Vaunted on top on the turf. I'll keep that one on top on the dirt by Golden Sense. Seems to be in good form. And the Bullet Workout down at Belmont, on dirt attracted my attention. So I'm going to stick with Vaunted on top, and then I'll go out to the AEs. And of those, the 15 looked intriguing to me. For Dave Duggan off a couple of seconds, bookending a 3rd place finish. So it's been knocking at the door. And then Under the Knife for Jeffrey Englehart comes in from Finger Lakes off a good try against Maiden Specials in the career debut up there, and could be a little live and interesting with the surface switch today by Sharp Azteca. Another one of those sires that a little under the radar maybe, but does very well with a win early type. So 11, 15, 14, and 12.
I like my exacta in here off the turf, 11-1. I thought I'd be on both sides of the starting gate. Might not be the case and probably won't be the case now, but I'm hoping Vaunted stays in. Both career stars were on the dirt, but as you said, a golden sense, let's try this. And from the rail, banking on a chance for Christophe Galland, a central banker on the dirt, that's where I want to be. So to me, I'll stick with them. As I said, I don't know how much, and there's 5 of them. So it's one of the more interesting who even gets to stay in.
Yeah.
You know, I do not know.
This is intriguing, certainly. 6th race this afternoon. Again, it was scheduled for the turf. We now move to the dirt, and I think, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it up. I think I saw at some point what our distance. Yeah, the 6th race is now 10 furlongs. 10 furlongs on the dirt for the 6th race. Allowance non-winners of 1 other than touch.
Do you remember that period about 25 years ago when they shortened them all up to 9 furlongs?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did away with that. What it used to be and has returned to is the closest applicable dirt distance, which is 10. In here, you have the also eligible, the 11. The only MTO, right, is the 13, right, who will be a major player, but might be starting in Schuylerville in here. So just taking a guess here, Seth, play this game. I'm thinking the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 9, the 10. I mean, this could be a 5-horse field. I mean, I just, it's hard for me to imagine the ones I would think the 8 staying in was scheduled for the second time they make the turf debut.
I wish it's esoteric, and I don't think they ever will.
What?
But I wish the racing form would put stats for trainers that stick in off the turf.
Oh, I like that.
I think that would.
I think Shug McGahee would be at the top of the list for that.
Chad's
a stayer also. Okay.
Like.
I think this race is going to get decimated. I mean, absolutely decimated. The 12, I could see a 3 or 4 horse field in here, and I think in that case, the 13 is in very good position. I think we're going to have a really short field in here. I got to think the 8 staying at the main body set. The 8 at the main body. The 8 is the only one I feel comfortable saying I think would stay in, because all the races have been on dirt.
Yeah.
So maybe Captain gets the race they want. So maybe it's the old 8-13 box exacta. But I would make the over-under 5.5 scratches.
It seems fair. I went with the MTO Costa Terra, but then obviously it kept my picks because nothing jumped out otherwise. So I'm 13, 9, 8, and 3. Costa Terra, they definitely go what they want. And it's Linda Rice, second off the claim. And I think that is going to be very beneficial, getting another try at this level, but more importantly, being a try at this level in an off-the-turf event. Second slot, I will go to number 9. Again, I had that one on top, Catch the Party for Michael Dubb and Michael Maker. You go on, there's a dirt race down the page a little bit that's not so good. But I just thought, I'll put my trust. There's some workouts, but we'll see if that one sticks in. But then, as you say, I had Captain down in the 3rd spot, and that one with the dirt form, I think touts.
Only dirt form.
Yeah, touts a good performance this afternoon. 13, 9, 8, and 3.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. It's in front, but here comes Chad, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Handicappers Report. We're up to race number 7 on a 10-race card on this Friday. Remember, about 5 o'clock Eastern time, where the turf meets the surf kicks off. Del Mar for their summer meet. And how much the game has changed in my adult years. Del Mar would typically open about a week before Saratoga when they open on Wednesdays and run about 10 days after. Now Saratoga opens before Del Mar, but Del Mar will run a couple days after us.
Then the fall meet.
You
were
the
at the
big
Breeders' Cup
CrossFit
out there,
meet.
right?
I've been to both Breeders' Cups out there. Nice place, but I much prefer Santa Anita for the Breeders' Cup.
Well,
Del Mar is smaller than I think a lot of people would
and
guess.
their big day, our big day up here is Travers. It's funny, their big day is today.
Opening day. It's a cultural
and it
event.
looks like they're rocking the seams of the place.
Yes.
When you look at them.
And I've said this before many times, it'll be the most highly attended sporting event today. Look at all the baseball parks today and look at Del Mar. So who do you like in the 3-year-olds and up? Maiden special weights starting right outside our front door. 7/8.
7th race for me, 9, 6, 5, and 10. I'm going to put Colville on top. Chad Brown runner, Bill Lawrence, locally based guy. They debuted. They just missed in the debut. Experience counts. I'll go with that one to break through in the second start of the career. Treaty obligation underneath. It's the other Chad Brown. This one for Klarovich. A team that I think I always pay attention to with win early types. And this one has shown plenty of early talent. Just hasn't gotten it done in 4 starts yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this one run very, very well. Abaddon goes out for Todd Pletcher by Spikestown. I think there's some interesting breeding here. Lucency is another Todd Pletcher, the 4. I debated putting that one in and out of the mix, but there weren't any siblings to race, but Tapperit's pretty good with win early types. So both of those Pletchers, but I went with the 5. And I'll mention we had Leon Seidler on the show the other day, talking day after Casa Creed had his big effort. He said he has some nice firsters coming up here. He was being close to the vest with it. I'm not sure if this is one of them, but I think Sidle Ridge could be a little bit interesting, particularly if you look up and you see a price like that, 12-1 morning line. I have it 9, 6, 5, and 10.
My guy's not in your pick, and I'm not surprised. I am expecting big things from Big Night Out, the 256. I think this is I'm surprised, as I thought on debut is exactly what I would want, and it's a Barkley tag runner who's not known besides tis the law of having him, but I think Big Night Out is in a big spot here now. There's some big names in here, and it's going 7/8.
I have no argument. Yeah,
I am.
The Lucas horse, the 8 horse, I think could be a player in here.
I'm getting a price on Big Night Out, and I have the 5, 6 underneath that you have. But I think Big Night Out, who's 6-1 in the morning line, is going to get lost in the shuffle here. And I love that debut race coming in here in a big spot. Competitive race, but I think I have a live horse at like $14.
Yeah, no arguments. 8th race this afternoon. Mile and an 8 for optional claimers, non-winners of 2 other than. Mile and an 8, as I say, scheduled from the main track. That means it's on the main track.
627, Bright Future, my top pick for Todd Pletcher. I got to throw out the Brooklyn, and if I do that, I'm right there in the mix with Jose Ortiz and the offspring of Curlin and distance of ground for Curlin. He's almost in a very unique spot in America where he is one of the few into mischief people. I mean, I know he has a Derby winner, but, kind of into mischief. And I love his racing career and his, is a question mark. But Curlin is a bona fide 9 and 10 furlong stallion at the top rung. And I like this. The Brooklyn couldn't have gone much worse. So let's hope that is a forgivable effort. Speed bias for second. They would probably really like to have that with the good early speed. And for third, number 7 going out for Chad Brown, second start of the year. I like the comeback race, 627.
Yeah, interesting because the horses that we both used underneath, I think, are very intriguing. But again, I went
we matched far too much
with Bright Future, the dark horse play, Rapoli, Pletcher, and
yes,
drawing a line through the Brooklyn. Artorias, who won the Curlin last year and seemed on his way to becoming a notable 3-year-old, then just couldn't continue that. And the seasonal debut just made me shy away a little bit. The performance in the Salvatore Mile, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see a rebound and get back to a better performance, but that was enough for me to look in another direction on top. And Speed Bias, I mean, if we throw in the performance like in the Pimlico Special, Speed Bias could be the one to beat. But for me, 6, 7, 2, and 1.
I think it's a very good race.
It is.
It's very good race. We take our final break. When we come back, the final Daily Double.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As of right now, the 9th race to feature the Lake George for 3-year-old fillies, the lone turf race of the day. We hope we get it in. Shortened up a couple of years ago to the 1 mile distance.
I would think if they're still on, they'd stay on so long as it doesn't rain
right,
more.
And
the forecast I heard on the way-in seemed like that's possible.
Yeah, I think,
because if it does come off, this could fall apart.
I think that's a fair barometer. I think the idea is if it doesn't rain anymore, you're going to get the race.
Yeah. 7, 3, 4, and 5
sense.
for me. I put utilization rate on top. Chad Brown with a number of runners in here. We saw him the Diana the other day, the longest price of the mix, and maybe we'll work out in a similar fashion today. Again, on the morning line, this one isn't necessarily the longest of those, but we'll see. It's a Klarovich Chad runner that has just broken the maiden, but seems to be moving in the right direction. And maybe a clever move moving into stakes company here. Taxing implications. It's also Chad and Klarovich. Comes off a seasonal debut near miss in a stake down at Belmont. And Liguria may wind up being the one, well, I think will wind up being the one of the Chad Brown runners that is the one to beat in here. Won that stakes race. The tax implications just missed in. So 7, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, I hope I'm not a day late, dollar short, because I do have the longest morning line price of the Chad Brown runners. And what intrigues me about this, now, Chad has a lot of juggling to do in life. So, but to me, now it's for Klarovich, and he knows he's got other horses, but off the maiden debut victory, he's like, yeah, let's go for the Lake George. So, I mean, an offspring of Flintshire, I'm down inside. As I said before, and you don't get them. When has this ever been a 100 buyer speed figure for a turf debut? I mean, they're just the dirt numbers and the turf numbers have not a lot in common, let's say. So, but an 80 on the turf on the debut, and Chad's like, let's go. You know, there are far more reasons that I know, but he knows he's got 4 other runners in there, and they're all a little bit more accomplished than me. So for second, I have Queen Picasso from the Hedge and Offspring at Kingman. Dynamic Sire for middle distance mile races, 2 for 2. And for third, I have Utilization Rate, which I'm going to be intrigued if Utilization Rate isn't the second lowest Chad Brown runner.
I'm curious as to how these will shake out. I mean, both of these are coming off a maiden breaker. So
listen, it's a lot of fun for everybody, then except early morning public handicappers.
And I'll toss out one other thing that maybe on a handicapping note that might want to tuck in their back pocket and think about. Does it make any difference to you? Because it doesn't to me. And having talked, I think when Todd was in here a couple of years ago, I asked, a lot of people are like, oh, the horse started at Monmouth, so it must be like the second string. But I think these guys have so many horses.
I don't think with Todd Pletcher and Chad, you can say that. They just have so many. And I can tell you this, I mean, one's in the Hall of Fame, the other one's going. Sometimes they don't get it right. Even if they thought that way, you know, I won't bring it up, but there's a very famous, accomplished horse who was thought to be not much, shipped off to the, Siberia, and turned out to be a monster. So I don't know. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And there's also...
I'm the same way.
Saratoga also, it's 40 days. It's not... The disparity isn't as great. It's a different... It's a...
10th and final today, scheduled to go off at about 6:15. Again, they're off the turf. These are state-bred maiden specials.
Guessing who's staying and who's going in here. The 13, 14, there are no MTOs. These are all also eligible. So that's the first interesting part. And so I'll say 3, 9, 8. And I think the 9 and the 8 are sketchy to stay in here. But if I'm their handlers, I'm like, well I don't know. But Mission Hill, who's double digits, I hope stays in. An offspring of Street Boss for Bill Mott was okay. The thing that I liked was I thought that was completely practice race. That was a 6 furlong sprint, and now they're going to the route of ground. I'm down inside. This will shorten up to a mile. I'll stay with Mission Hill.
I kept mine the same, but I have no confidence. I went 11, 9, 8, and 1 just because I didn't really see anything. The 1, though, has the dirt.
I think
form.
we're in trouble with
and
the
I
9
think
and
Keith,
8.
I think when Keith was out here, I think he yelled out Bourbon Chase. I know his wife is a pretty good, clever handicapper, so I wonder if she landed on that one. But again, 11, 9, 8, and 1.
One quick thing is we have a moment before we get Brian on with Racing Across America. I love the shot of the 1 mile races.
With the head on?
The head on, because there's no pan. But I wish they'd stay with it about 8 seconds longer, because I was watching one of yesterday's, and they went away from it right when I think people would see a real difference in the effect of post position. If you don't use horse from the outside, by the outside, I think it was, let me look it up. I think it was only the 7 or 8 runners. Let me find that mile race on the dirt. Yeah, I was going to say the pretty extreme race, right? If they'd have stayed with it about 6 or 8 seconds more, I think you would begin to see where it's problematic for the outside horses without early speed. Now, I'm just making conjecture, but I'm looking at the outside horse. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a problem. You're about to hit the apex of the turn, and you got no gain. You have no chance to drop in. That's the thing that I would say. A few more seconds, because I think it's a great shot at looking for incidents at the start, and in that particular race to see the difference of how different it can be.
Yeah, it definitely jockey strategy plays a big role in those mile shoot starts.
All right, well, we can't keep the Hall of Fame waiting, so who else do you have on Racing Across America?
Brian Bouyer ready to come up, Communications Director, National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. And again, Matt Shearer coming in. He's got one in the Coaching Club American Oaks tomorrow. And after winning the Belmont with Arcangelo a few weeks ago, I knew I had to have Jen Antonucci on sometime during the meet. Today is the day.
Well, he stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, we're off the turf except for the Lake George. Have a great Friday. Opening day at Del Mar, 5 p.m.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.